Good morning everyone. I am presenting slide number 1. History given was 47-year-old male with nasal discharge and epistaxis. This was the microscopic image given. Aspirated smear studied shows malignant tumor cells which were lying singly and in clusters, and they were showing pleomorphism with raised NC ratio and with prominent nucleoli, and few plasma cells were also noted. So the diagnosis was nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Coming to review of literature, nasopharyngeal carcinoma is a leading cause of death for large populations in Southeast Asia. The age, that is incidence curve, is bimodal, with a peak occurring between 15 and 25 years and another between 60 and 69 years. This tumor results from the combined action of genetic predisposition, environmental factors, and the Epstein-Barr virus. It has been proposed that tumor initiation requires EBV expression, but that the induction of pre-neoplastic events and maintenance of tumor cell phenotype require critical cellular genes. Sites, as the name implies, nasopharyngeal carcinoma affects nasopharynx, with nasopharyngeal recess, that is fossa of Rosenmuller, as the most common affected site, followed by superior posterior wall. Coming to WHO classification of nasopharyngeal carcinoma, it is categorized into non-keratinizing squamous cell carcinoma, which is again divided into differentiated and undifferentiated subtypes, keratinizing squamous cell carcinoma, and basalite squamous cell carcinoma. Clinical features: presents with painless upper cervical lymphadenopathy secondary to lymph node metastasis or obstructive symptoms related to nasopharyngeal mass. Headache and symptoms of cranial nerve involvement in advanced disease with skull base involvement is seen. Coming to gross features, the gross appearance of nasopharyngeal carcinoma varies from a mucosal bulge with an overlying intact epithelium to a clearly demonstrable mass with extensive involvement of the surface epithelium, or frankly infiltrative growth to a totally unidentifiable lesion fortuitously sampled and identified by microscopic evaluation. Cytological findings: undifferentiated malignant cells single and in clusters, variable amount of pale fragile cytoplasm, large vesicular nuclei with prominent central nucleoli, admixture with the background of lymphoid cells often with prominent plasma cells, and ancillary tests like neoplastic cells were positive for cytokeratin, negative for lymphocyte markers, and Epstein-Barr virus associated nuclear antigen. These are the basic criteria for diagnosis of nasopharyngeal carcinoma by FNAC. On cytology, we can see loose clusters of undifferentiated epithelial cells with vesicular nuclei, prominent nucleoli, and pale fragile cytoplasm, and also we can see the background of lymphocytes. Microscopic features. Microscopically, the crucial distinction is to be made between the keratinization and non-keratinizing squamous cell carcinomas. The keratinizing conventional squamous cell carcinoma is characterized by the presence of a keratinization, intercellular bridges, and graded as well, moderate, and poorly differentiated. A desmoplastic reaction is typically found in response to invasive growth by this cytological type of nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Here we can see keratin pulse and intercellular bridging is seen, and keratinization, individual cell keratinization is also seen. The non-keratinizing carcinomas show little to absent keratinization and have a growth pattern similar to transitional cell carcinoma of the bladder, including stratified cells with sharp delineation from the surrounding stroma. Well-defined cell borders and vague intercellular bridges may be present. Rarely, an occasional keratinized cell may be identified. Typically, no desmoplastic response to invasive growth occurs. Here we can see differentiated type of non-keratinizing carcinoma. The neoplastic cells are seen in cords and trabeculae, and here we can see the cytology of the neoplastic cells, which have pleomorphic nuclei and increased mitotic activity lacking keratinization. Undifferentiated type of nasopharyngeal carcinoma represents approximately 60% of all nasopharyngeal carcinoma and is the most frequent tumor type seen in pediatric age groups. The neoplastic cells are characterized by the presence of round nuclei, prominent eosinophilic nucleoli, dispersed nuclear chromatin, and scant eosinophilic to amphiphilic cytoplasm. Keratinization is completely absent and increased mitosis, including atypical forms, are present. Here we can see the tumor nests, and they are clearly delineated from the surrounding non-neoplastic lymphocytic infiltrate. Here we can see the cytology of the tumor cells, that is presence of enlarged round nuclei, vesicular chromatin, prominent eosinophilic to amphiphilic cytoplasm, and non-neoplastic lymphoid component is also present. Coming to IHC, all three histologic types of nasopharyngeal carcinoma are immunoreactive with cytokeratin, including pan-cytokeratins and high molecular weight keratins. Weak immunoreactivity is present for low molecular weight cytokeratins. The non-keratinizing carcinomas, differentiated and undifferentiated, are highly associated with Epstein-Barr virus as detected by in situ hybridization. Here we can see the neoplastic cells are positive for cytokeratin, and we can see Epstein-Barr virus encoded early RNA. Thank you.